and you were asked about tuition increases.
Yeah.
And you said you didn't think that freezing tuition was the right way to go, and you thought 5.8% was too high. And then when we tried to press you and figure out what you thought an appropriate increase was, you told us you'd study it. It's been 6 months. Where are you now?
I've studied it.
And
Exactly. No, I mean, Dan, I'll be honest with you. I want to bring down the cost of higher education. The reason I don't think that tuition freezes alone are the answer is that we need to have a thriving UW system. I want to increase the capacity. I want more students because we know that more and more jobs require higher education, whether it's technical college or whether it's university. So we need to increase the capacity. We need to bring down the costs. And so if you just say tuition freeze, like Governor Walker does, and you say you're not going to put any more state funding into it, that in essence is saying they need to cut. And without identifying where you're going to cut, I think it's irresponsible, and it's not saying what the other side is. It's easy to get a political soundbite and say, I'm just going to freeze tuition, but then basically you're endorsing cutting programs at the UW unless you're going to put more state aid into it.
So you're still not sure?
I'm still, no. I would like to hold tuition, I would like to freeze tuition for another 2 years, but I need to have money in the state budget to be able to offset
when
that.
we ask you questions over the last 6 months, it seems like your answer, your knee-jerk answer is, we're going to study this. And it seems like for someone without a political background, that's very much a trust me sort of answer that you're giving us. I don't know.
Dan, I'm not saying I'm going to study it. I'm going to say, we know it. I'm being realistic with you. In that what has been reported is that we have a $1.8 billion deficit that I will be facing as governor. And so when you put together those budgets, there are a lot of different pieces to it. The UW system, it's a huge piece. And so it will be a priority of mine to put more money into both our K-12 system and our university system and technical college system.
And you said you are in support of a freeze for the next 2 years, right?
If you could pull money, if there could be additional state aid that is put into the UW system, because I don't want to see cuts. On some campuses, they actually aren't carrying reserves. Some of the campuses have no reserves available to them. So it's also looking campus by campus and saying what is necessary. Are there other areas that programs can be cut? But I don't believe that just holding tuition without any additional state funding that could see programs cut at our universities is the answer. But if we can put additional state aid into it and hold tuition freezes and freeze tuition, I'd do it.
If you want to add if you want to add additional state money to higher education, where is that coming from? Is it coming from somewhere else that you would identify as I hate to say lower priority, but if you have to make those hard decisions, where does that money come from?
That's where I'd look at every single item and say, do we really need to be spending this amount of money? Certainly I have identified that the private school tuition tax deduction is one that I would roll back. I would certainly roll back the voucher expansion, statewide voucher expansion funding. So going line item by line item and seeing where are you going to put priority. Certainly I'd accept the federal Medicaid money. That's $206 million in this budget alone.
So what would you do to help students refinance their student loans? It seems like they're burdened with student loans. They can't get from under this burden. These are the people who buy cars, they make the purchases and stuff, but they're burdened by student loans. Would you be in support of refinancing student loans in any way, shape, or form?
I am definitely in favor of that and have that in my Invest for Success jobs plan. And it is, there's no sense if the state can borrow at a significantly lower rate than people are paying on their student loans, 6, 7, 8%. That makes common sense. And it is money that gets put back into the Wisconsin economy.
Why do you think in the past that they've been so against refinancing student loans?
I can't speak for them. I think it's a great idea.